Yo, this is the Reverberation Rod, one of my favorite items, especially on League Start. It is very powerful for spell builds or minions that use spells. In this case, Absolution would benefit from the +2 gems, level 10 Spell Echo, and level 10 Controlled Destruction. Absolution even has synergy with the Arcane Surge modifier on this item, seeing as you cast Absolution yourself and the mana cost of Absolution is quite high. You will have Arcane Surge up pretty much all the time. This means the Sentinels will benefit from the 16% more spell damage that Arcane Surge support provides. Arcane Surge also grants mana regeneration to the player, helping you sustain your mana. The Reverberation Rod is also really good use with Skeleton Mages. They benefit from the +2 Spell Echo and Controlled Destruction. Arcane Surge might be a little bit harder to sustain with Skeletons as you don't want to cast the spell too often. I always use the normal volley support with Skeleton Mages as it has the least damage penalty out of all the projectile supports. You can use whichever one you prefer, however. It is easy to swap them around and see what feels good for you. You could also opt to swap your preferred projectile support out for slower projectiles for more damage on bosses. I am very lazy myself, however, and don't even bother swapping out volley, as the skeletons just deal enough damage. Another good synergy to note is that since we are socketing our skeletons into the Reverberation Rod, we can pick up a Flesh Crafter early on without having to worry about getting it to 5 or 6 link. A downside of the Reverberation Rod is that it might block you from getting a Trigger Wand. You could use a Trigger Wand in your offhand, but sacrificing his shield with shield charge and faster attacks early on is quite costly. I usually just opt to self-cast Desecrate and an Offering, or I use an Arcanist Brand setup. Another really good item is the Bitterdream. It is very powerful for cold skills or minions that deal cold damage. Level 15 Bone Chill provides 12% more cold damage, and when an enemy is chilled by the skill or a minion socketed in the Bitterdream, it will increase the damage taken by the percentage of chill inflicted. Since damage taken is essentially a different bucket, it will be as powerful as a more damage multiplier, providing this is your only source of increased damage taken. Another thing to note is that the flat added cold damage that Ice Bite and added cold damage provide is quite powerful, especially early on as the base flat damage minions or skills will have is usually quite low. Bitterdream also synergizes really well with his City Breath. It was a very popular item in Crucible League with the Forged Frostbearer Spectre. Crucible monsters will be returning this league. Go PM. I usually use Raise Spectre and minion damage, and then the last skill gem depends on the Spectre I use. If using melee with the Crush Claw for example, I would use Multi-Strike and maybe swap it out for melee physical damage while mapping. If using a Spell Spectre such as the Forged Frostbearer, I would use Spell Echo. Do note that since Bitterdream is a scepter, we are not able to dual wield it with a Trigger Wand. The Dendrobate is another item you could use. It supports Sucker gems with chance to poison, essentially adding another link. Could be a good budget option for things like poison some raging spirits. The last option is a Lioneye's Vision. It supports socketed gems with Pierce, also essentially adding another link. Could be a good budget option for projectile specters or skills. Harry's Watch for example. These items are generally cheap. The Reverberation Rod is usually between 1 to 5 KLs, and the Bitterdream usually around 5 to 10 KLs at league start. The chess pieces are usually available a little bit later into the league, and prices are a little bit hard to pinpoint. Best to check the trade site in this case. These items are uniques, however. This means that when they increase in popularity, prices will increase as supply is limited. This is also the reason why bigger content creators tend to not mention them, as when they do, the price would skyrocket so tremendously, they are no longer good options. My predictions for 3.23 are, who the heck knows, but Spectre Bus for sure. Right? Left? Right.